Creative Broadcasting, the station of unlimited possibilities, presents Creating Your Seat at the Table with your host, Ashley Little, as she welcomes her guests to the table.
Welcome to Creating Your Seat at the Table. I am your host, Ashley Little. A little bit about myself: corporate professional by day, entrepreneur by night, CEO and founder of Ashley Little Enterprises, LLC, four-time best-selling author, owner and creator of Creative Broadcasting, and co-founder and owner of Talk Radio and TV Network, LLP. Tonight we have an amazing special guest by the name of Crystal Tolbert. A little bit about her. Pastor Crystal Tolbert is a speaker, wife, mother, prophetic life coach, and author. She was born in Turnersville, New Jersey, and grew up in Lufkin, Texas. As a child, she always had a passion and desire to help others. She was baptized at the tender age of 7. Her grandmother was a great influence in the late missionary Jossie Lee Mask to call her to preach. Pastor Crystal Tolbert accepted the call to evangelize at the age of 18, and she did her first youth revival in the spring of 1999. Throughout the years, she has held different roles in the ministry. Currently, she is the founder and president of Walking in Greatness Ministries. Walking in Greatness Ministries was created to be a spiritual environment that will enhance and encourage many to walk in their now season of purpose. Her mission and responsibility is to create a platform to help change the mindset, impact, lead, and prepare jewels for their own legacy so that they can walk in complete greatness in the kingdom. In her own words, I really want to be able to impact and bring forth what God has placed in them. It is so important to me that women are left with something of real value. I was called to be a dream changer because I have the gift to make dreams reality for the kingdom. I just want to be able to touch someone's life in a positive way. Pastor Crystal Tolbert just released her new book, From the Eyes of a Prophet, Scribe Your Way into Destiny. It's a tool to help many to live out their destiny through writing. In her spare time, she enjoys traveling, working in her church, spending time with her family and friends. Pastor Crystal Tolbert resides in Dallas, Texas with her wonderful husband, Senior Pastor Kenneth Tolbert, and their 3 beautiful children, Brianna, Jonathan, and Kenneth II. They are the senior pastor and pastor of Restored Purpose Ministries in Florence Branch, Texas. Welcome to the table, the amazing Pastor Crystal Tolbert.
Wow, Ashley, thank you. Thank you so much for that wonderful, wonderful announcement of who I am. I was like, I feel like a celebrity just the way you announced me, so thank you. I need to use you in the future. That was real grand. But no, Ashley, yes. I really appreciate you just allowing me to be able to be on Creating Your Seat at the Table. I feel so welcome at your table, so thank you for this opportunity this evening.
You are welcome, and Crystal, I am honored and humbled to have you at the table to share some of the wisdom and knowledge that I know you're going to share with my listeners tonight. And I know that they have heard your amazing bio. So would you please tell us more about your entrepreneur journey?
Okay, well, I actually call it my exit to the platform. What I really, really believe that we all have to have a strategy in whatever we do. And many of us know that we're called to kingdom entrepreneurship, but we don't have a strategy on how to do it. And so what I challenge people to do, we have this gift. Many of us that are believers, we talk about the principles of God, and we talk about many aspects of having living a kingdom life. Well, God gives us a strategy, and I call it my exit to the platform, because in this day and time, we know that in corporate America, at any given time, you can be laid off. At any given time, your life can totally change. But what we don't do, we don't prepare for what is next after we go to the exit to the platform. So what I like to do, I like to speak to people and encourage them, what is your next after your exit? What is your strategy? One of the things that is so important that many people don't prepare for, they don't prepare for, okay, if I leave my job today, even though I'm called to have entrepreneurship, do I have savings? Have I taken care of my credit cards? Is my credit good enough to be able to even get a loan if I wanted to reach out for? Do we have a strategy for our business plan? Those are the kind of things, those little tidbitty things can challenge you and cause you a delay in seeing success in what you're called to do. And so I teach people that if you know that you're called to be an entrepreneur, what are your steps? Write them down, because I hear people all the time, I know that I'm called to be an entrepreneur, but you don't have any type of strategy, even for people that are single or people that, for me personally, I think it's harder when you have a spouse, because you're not just thinking from your perspective, you're thinking from going out of biblically, you have to honor your spouse's respect them too. And if you don't have a plan, they're going to be looking at you like, are you crazy? Are you crazy? We can't do this. We just bought a house, or we have kids in college, or we have kids that are in elementary or whatever. So there has to be a plan for success. And so the first thing I ask people is that when you are called for your entrepreneurship, write it down. Tell me something. What is the first thing that you're going to do? People say, oh, well, I have connections where I can reach out to my friends to see if they can help me write out the business plan. All those things need to be already put in a plan, step by step, because some of us are saying that God is going to open up doors for us, and this is our year to be a boss. A lot of the young people say that, and that's so funny to me. But if he's called you to be a boss, you have to think like a boss. Because once you go into entrepreneurship, this is your baby. It's on you. It's no longer on your director. So how are you going to be able to be a boss when you don't even have a plan? You don't even have any clients. And I tell people this: the best client is you. Why would somebody want to buy into you? I'm telling you, that's fresh manna for anybody that's a Christian. What is in you? What do you have that would make me want to buy from myself? You should be your first client. We know how we are. A lot of us, if we take out our flesh and be honest, why would anybody want to buy something from you? What do you have? It has nothing to do with how many degrees you have. You can take as many business classes as anybody, but if your mindset is not ready to think like a leader, there is a process in people respecting you. So you should give yourself a 90-day trial on you as a client. That's the best way to learn because if you are called to be an entrepreneur, you have to be a risk taker. And you cannot walk and operate and connect with people if you're not able to trust your decisions. So those are things that I discuss on how to build you up. I used to do I was a professional makeup artist for many years, and I also I did event planning. And I never forget, my uncle told me some wisdom that really helped me to even expand my business. He said, you are always coming and doing, I would go home, and he said, why don't you be a wedding planner? He said, you're always giving people advice when you're doing makeup for weddings and stuff. And that was a door opener for me. And so sometimes you just have to sit down and think of the plan. What else can give you revenue even if this plan fails? See, we don't think about that. What is something else that, okay, so if you have the gift and you went to school to be a real estate agent, and even though you might not be doing that right now, but to suffice you through the dry season when you're not getting any clients, what could you fall on that will keep your household safe? Those are tools that we have to think about that people miss when you go to a lot of these conferences when they're giving you tools. Some of those little snippets like that could help you in a dry season or where you're seeing your business die down, or you have to me, I think another way that I think would be really good for people is like when take your money and do like teachers. Teachers get paid once a month. See, when you have your high peak, you have to look at statistics. If it's something that you're doing like somebody else, you need to know who is your competition. These are things that you need to already have established before you walk out and leave your job, because in anything you do, you need to make sure you leave it in a way that if it fails, you can go back and you can still have something. But many people don't finish the course of what they're called to the right way. And then you expect people, you never know why God put you in the position to have a corporate job. So you have to be careful how you do things when your exit is out. When it's time for you to leave, God's going to give you a plan. I don't care if you don't have any money. He's going to give you a plan to where you leave that job the right way. He's not going to bless your own business right and you don't take care of something that he gave you in the first place. Those are the kind of things that I talk to people about. People want to have zeal about having their own because they're looking at social media, but how are you acting with what God already gave you? And just because you're called to be an entrepreneur, that don't mean this is the right season. So it's kind of like, for me, I sit down and I talk to people, and I want to know your thought process. I want to know if you're even strong enough to handle the no. Because if you can't handle that no, you're not ready for the yes. You work harder in the season and one thing about it, when you're called to be an entrepreneur and you're doing it in a kingdom way, you work harder. You have to depend on God harder than you ever did when you had that job. And see, a lot of people don't even realize that because all you have is what God has put in your hands. That means you should work even harder. You can't get lazy. You work harder and you make more sacrifices. So that means if I want to go on a girlfriend's trip, I got to think about investments. I got to think about wealth and wisdom. I can't go this time. You have to build for where you're going. Those are the kind of things that we have to talk about. And it's very, very serious in this day and time because all we see is people being successful, but we don't see the back end of how long it took them to get into the place or where they got their first $10,000 check. And a lot of these pyramids that they're doing, that stuff is going away. You're going to have to work now. You can't just use manipulation because that's what a lot of people do to get into what they're doing. They'll make quick money, and then they lose it because they don't have anything after that. So
I love it. I love it.
That's the stuff that I talk to people. And I tell you, when you really sit down and you talk to people, a lot of times people will be the ones that are really honest. They are not ready like they thought because they didn't even have a plan. They just have a gift. And that's just like in ministry. A lot of people don't even understand. You have to have there's a business side to what you're called to. You have to be able to balance it. You can't just have the gift of bringing people in, or if you're a life coach or whatever. What do you do? One thing that I learned about when I did professional makeup, I was a cosmetic manager as well, is that it was the upsell that worked. Meaning they can buy makeup anywhere. But if you got someone on a great cleanser, if you got them on a good regimen for their skin, that's how you maintain a client. Not trying to pick them a nice lipstick. What are you working in that's going to keep that person coming back to you without manipulation? Because if you manipulate somebody to buy something, how you treat that person, you don't know who they're connected to, and you will lose other sales based on how you treated one person. So that's important, that you don't go into it trying to scheme somebody. That's not the way. If God has called you to be a kingdom entrepreneur, you can do it the right way and see success in your business without buying people and manipulating. Those are the things that I talk about. So it works if you apply it. It works.
And I love you said so many awesome nuggets, Crystal. You said so many awesome. Build for where you're going. The best client is you. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. And
yes.
So go ahead.
Oh, I was just agreeing with you, and I said it's the truth. We are a lot of us, especially us that are over the age of 35, we are picky. You know, we know, we already know what we want. So when we go in the store, if you are Neiman Marcus type of lady, you already know that you can't just be bought. It's got to be something that catches your eye. Those kind of things work because you have to know you. And if you know that you are caught and you've been exposed and you know culture and you know different things, then you know someone has to be very knowledgeable to buy you in. Well, most of your clients, we always have a certain audience. That's something else. You got to know your audience. You can't do what works for other people even though they're in the same type of field as you, because if you have a different audience, if I have a Neiman Marcus audience, I can't expect someone that likes to go to, you know, a certain particular thrift store to like the same thing. And even if they do like it, there's got to be a different approach on how I handle that person. You have to know your audience. Many people don't even know who they're called to. Many people think just because I'm 40, that doesn't mean that I'm called to 40-year-olds. I might be called to women or men that are in their 60s. We need to understand who we're called to in order to sell to them. That way we can build from there. That's where your confidence comes. And most people don't know what they're called to, nor do they know who their audience is. Those are key factors in selling.
I love it. And you're passionate about spreading the word of God and creating a spiritual environment that will help people walk in their now season. Let's talk more about that, Crystal, because you're very passionate about that. So can you talk more about it with our listeners?
You know why I'm so passionate about it? Because for so long, when you're talking about from a Christian aspect, many people say that they're religious and their kingdom, but kingdom and religion, being religious is totally different. When you have a kingdom mindset, you are free. When you are religious, you stay in a yoke of bondage, because there's no freedom in religion, because you have a judgmental spirit. You can't walk in your now season being judgmental. You have to walk in your season when you become intimate with God, and God opens you up to different ways like wealth and wisdom, or principles of God, or how to obtain an intimate relationship. Many people know God, but they don't have intimacy with God. That's walking in who you are. When you get authentic in God and you seek God and you ask God, who am I? Why was I put on this earth? There's a confidence that you have when you begin to learn who you are. That way, you're not jealous of other people. When you really build in who you are and you allow God to filter out the toxic stuff that we have been manipulated and programmed. Most of us that have been in church, nothing against nobody, but a lot of us only went out of obligation. We never built a relationship, so we can't walk. We're limping as we walk because we never took the time to get to know him on a one-to-one basis. And that's why you have so much division and jealousy and competition in church, because we were not taught the word of God from a kingdom perspective, but from a religious perspective. And when you learn who you are in God and you seek God with the authentic heart and you want to know who you are, I can't be the best for you when I don't know who I am. When you know who you are, you in God builds confidence in us. Your conversations change. The type of people God will expose you to changes when you know who you are. He will change your whole atmosphere. He will bring in people, kings and royalty and things like that, who have a mindset. You won't talk from a place of not knowing anything, and you won't lack confidence when you really learn who you are in God. And I tell people, I said, a lot of times we're walking based on what everybody else, how they walk. There's something about your class and sophistication. A lady walks different when she knows who she is in God. Not arrogant, but confident. Because if he is dwelling in you, there's a different type of response that you have. You have a response with wisdom, not with pride or judgmental. You just change. It's something about, it's like when somebody gives you information that you have been waiting for a long time, and it's like, wow, I get it. I see it now. Now I understand it. That's how God, when you really come into the fullness of God, he will change everything about you. There are things that you will no longer tolerate because you're no longer toxic. There is a way you won't even eat. He changes your palate. He changes your whole surroundings. You could be in the same neighborhood, but you would see things like you've never seen things before because you're no longer, it's not a cloudiness about it anymore, but you are in a place of fulfillment and clarity. And being in God for real is fun. You don't have any limitations. You can go anywhere and build a conversation or be able to be around all different types of people and not feeling inferior when you really get to know who God is and why you're placed on this earth. You walk in it. You live it. It's your kingdom lifestyle. There's a class about you. There's something about you when you carry the glory of God on you that you could be in anywhere. I could be in a store and someone I will draw them to me because it's not me, but it's the God that's living in me. You laugh different. You want to be exposed to different things. And we don't talk about those kind of things anymore from a kingdom perspective anymore because all we see is light, camera, action. We're so busy trying to make people believe in this fairy tale God instead of just living out the true principles of God. He said we could have the milk and honey. But do you really believe it? Because if you really believed it, the way that you treat people or the way that you secretly are jealous of people, you don't believe that you could have it. So that means you're still in religion. You're not in kingdom. Your eyes, your eyes get clear. Your eyes, you no longer try to see the bad in people, but your heart is like, well, let me pray for them. Maybe they don't see it like me, but you know what, God, help me to understand them from their point of view. Because what I've learned, many of us could be the same age and still be in the same situation, but have had a different atmosphere that has caused us to might not be as mature as other people that are dealing with the same thing. We think that people are like us just because they were brought up in the church or just because, but if your environment has not allowed you to see things in a positive way, we got to stop expecting people to know it just because of their age or just because of their background or just because of their education. Being crazy and being judgmental, it doesn't have an age, color, size, nothing. We can be old fools, just like you can be a young fool. But I'd rather walk in this thing. I'd rather live it. I'd rather give you something that will be everlasting that you could remember me for instead of my face, but remember my words that could empower your life. That's how you walk in purpose.
I love
Many people have died without ever seeing purpose because nobody took the time to show them that there is an atmosphere of joy. There is a destiny that's calling you. Your purpose is hollering out your name, but you have been broken for so long, you never reached out for your purpose. Too many of us have too many gifts that we only celebrate the gifts, but we never get into the place of purpose. Purpose promotes destiny, not your gift.
I love it. Purpose promotes destiny. So what are some strategies, Crystal, you would give to women who are afraid to walk in their calling because of fear? Because a lot of people, they kind of, they know what they're called to do, but they're scared. They're afraid to jump. They're afraid to do it. They're worried about what somebody else might say, or they just have their own fears, and they're not ready to take that leap. So what are some strategies you would give to that woman that is listening, that's afraid to walk in her calling?
What I would tell them, allow the pain that they've endured to be their true platform for their purpose and destiny. Forgive yourself. That's the number one thing. Because we as women, we will forgive everybody else, but we never take the time to forgive us. That's why we get in a place of isolation or we carry the spirit of oppression. Another thing I would tell you, once you forgive yourself, you got to go find that little girl or that little boy that you left broken. Many of us didn't start being the way we are right now. Some of us that are mean women, some of us that are very judgmental, something stimulated that. So go forgive. Go find that little girl and go heal. Go heal. And not apologize because you missed life. I'm telling you, it's something about the power of using your pain for your platform. We always have heard this, many of us that grew up in church, as testimonies. Well, your pain, it was pain that gave them the testimony, or it was something that they endured to get them to have the testimony. So challenge yourself. Give yourself a chance. I don't care if you're 60 years old. If it's something that you want to do, don't apologize because you want to live in your truth and your purpose. And revive your self-worth. Do you know your self-worth? Many of us are so busy building everybody else that we don't take time to love us. Many women are so busy loving on everybody, coaching everybody, seeing everybody else's vision and plan come to fruition, but yet you never see your own. You never see yours. Revive your self-worth and learn to celebrate you. It took me 38 years to learn that. We as women, most of us are not taught to celebrate us. We're not taught. We're taught to be in competition, always get there first, always do this, whether if you're in dance, if you're in a pageant, it's always a competition thing. What about celebrating you? I don't have to do it your way for it to be successful, and I don't have to apologize because God made me authentic. That is it. Take time to be okay that God, this thing in me that's authentic is what's going to take me to the next level of what I call purpose. And you don't have to understand it, but God got an audience just for me that's going to love every bit of who I am. I am so tired of hearing beautiful, successful women downplay who they are because the wrong people can't celebrate it, and they would never be your audience anyway because they're jealous of you. You don't have to like it. I'm telling you, I don't have to be jealous of you, Ashley, because you have success and because you have books behind your name. When you learn to celebrate yourself, you can freely celebrate others without being jealous in the background.
Yes.
That's it. And leave whatever you're leaving. Leave it open to where if you have to come back, whatever it is, do it the right way. Be okay with that. Many people have made mistakes to get the right yes. Celebrate you for the courage. That's the thing that I challenge any woman that's listening. I challenge you to have courage. We don't have courage for us. We'll have courage for children. We'll have courage for your spouse. You'll have courage for your girlfriends. You'll push them out on the platform, and you'll still be in the background when it's really your voice that is in need. Push yourself. Push yourself out there and do it. No longer, we need to stop passing the buck. When we know God has put something in us. If you never wrote that first book, Ashley, I guarantee you would not be in the place that you are in right now. It took courage to get out there and have your first show, but you did it. That's the thing. Stop thinking negative that it's not going to work, because the thing that I had to learn that God, what your credentials have been given from God. If God didn't want you to do it, He wouldn't have put it in you with such. It's like you're birthing something out. If it's something in you that you have not taken the time to birth out, this is the best time of your life, because the last 2 years we've seen women do things that they have never seen before. We've seen women that have been hidden, that have came out of nowhere, that are leading success. Why not try? Maybe you're the hidden figure for 2019. Maybe you are the one that you were the best kept secret. Be bold enough to try it, because if God put it in you, I know He will give you the grace to see it be manifested into a reality. Birth it out. Birth it out unapologetically. Birth it out by yourself. Sometimes you got to walk alone to see success. Sometimes you got to leave everything that you were comfortable with in order to see success. And I use Abraham. Abraham is the prime example of that. But he birthed out many nations. What nation is inside of you that needs to be birthed out? Who are you? That's what you'll say. You'll tell yourself, well, who am I? You serve a God that said that you can do anything in Him. There's no limitation. I love Lady Michelle Obama. She gave insight. I have a 17-year-old daughter, and she gave insight to women in that generation just as well as women in my generation. You know why? Because she's a woman of color, that she didn't do it just because of her husband. She already did it for herself. Have something for you. I always tell my children this. I didn't want to just be a first lady. I didn't want to just be a minister or a pastor. I wanted my children to be proud of me, not just for being their mom, but I wanted them to see that I could do some things, that you don't have to have a silver spoon in your mouth to have success or have an audience. All you got to do is seek God first, and whatever God wants to establish in you, it will be established. But you got to have the confidence in knowing that no matter where I come from, no matter what I've had to face, it does not change the promise and purpose over my life. We have more power. Women, we are powerful. We are powerful. We are powerful instruments that can help change. Every man, every real man will tell you it took a woman to pray for him. Your prayers can change your lifestyle. It can change your surroundings. You can start a new adventure. God will give you creativity that you never even knew that you had a gift for. All it takes is for you believing in you. And if nobody ever celebrates you, learn to celebrate yourself. That you know what, it might have failed, but I did it. I wasn't afraid to do it. And I had enough courage in God to know that God put it in me. Whatever the lesson was, it was meant for it to happen. And be okay with it. And walk with your head up high. And somebody will notice you. Even in your failure, God will send someone to notice you so that you can see success. It's all about the obedience in knowing who you are and who you're called to for such a time as this. You are meant to be established, but you have to already know that. You got to recognize the beauty in you. I might not look like you. I might not have what you have, but I am royalty in God. And live that thing. On those days that you feel like you're not good enough, go back and write some things down. And remember why you did it. Remember why you were called to it. On those days where you can't get a prayer through. On the days that you don't think nobody's going to listen to you when you open your mouth. If it's just one person. If it's just your voice you hear, you do it until the masses hear it. And be encouraged in that. It takes time to get this thing right. But you got to want it better than you want defeat, and you will see success.
I love it. You just spoke, all the wisdom for the listeners that are listening that she just, oh, my gosh, shared with us. It was just amazing because you're right. Because the key thing, and everything that you said was just right on time. But definitely we have to learn, in order to get to the next level, we have to walk alone sometimes, right? And it's part of the process. Yes. A lot of people don't want to walk alone, but it's when you get by yourself that you, like you said, you're creative and God can really talk to you. So for our listeners that are on that journey, don't be afraid to walk alone. The path is lonely. Yes, it is, but he will put the right people in your path to help you get there. And most of the time, it's strangers.
Yes. Because you know what I learned? That's the problem. And then that's the other thing for a person that's venturing out. Stop trying to get your friends or your family to buy. Many people have cheerleaders until they do it. Come on and go with me, Ashley. You are an entrepreneur woman. The very people that asked you and said when you were going to get your book out, when you were going to do this and that, when you finally did it, they got quiet. They were like mouth because people can handle you until you get in success. When you finally get it, they can't. Everybody, you'll learn who your friend is when you really see success start manifesting. So God will send the unknown people in your life to encourage you in a dry season of when you thought your family, your friends would have been your biggest supporters because they were the ones that were rooting you out. Well, that was to keep you in a place of never doing it because they never thought you would do it. So they had to keep you cheering on. But when you made the conscious decision that I don't need your help, I'm going to do it alone, that's the problem because they were scared of your courage. And I keep on hearing God say that there is somebody that is listening to your radio on tonight live, and they're hearing that somebody has no idea. They don't even think they qualify, but God is just telling me to let them know they qualify because of their courage. It's the courage that makes people so afraid of you. They're jealous of you, and so they will try to belittle you so you never have the courage to do it. You got a voice. When you get healed from the opinions of those people that were only your cheerleaders, and it gets quiet, and you get healed from that, your voice can give life to someone that was on life support. I'm telling you, there's a freedom when you begin to see things, and it's a whole new perspective when you see, I don't need you to cheer me on. God will send people. I'm a witness of that. That God sent people that I never even thought that would believe in my vision when I felt like it wasn't even going to happen. God would send people. God would send people as angels to encourage you. I've had people when I was like, I don't even have enough to do it, God, but I'm believing in this dream that you put in me because some of us was those people that you sleep and you breathe and you can't even sleep because there's a dream in you that needs to be birthed out, and you cry because you're like, I don't have the funds. But when I begin to let go of my fear and say, God, you put it in me, so God, you give me the resources that I need. I begin to write things out. That's why I'm so passionate about my book. Write out your dreams. Write out your vision. Scribe it out.
Yes.
When you begin to scribe things out, then you can go back on those days. Well, God, here it is right here. See, the enemy don't want you to write it out. You can say it out your mouth all day long, but when you put, it's something about when you put it on paper. That's just like with a deed, with a contract. It's non-negotiable once your signature is on it. Come on. So your signature needs to be on your journal because it keeps you in a place where you'll see your dreams manifest. As long as it's in your head, you'll put it off. But it's something about when you can go back and look at the things that you said that you were going to be committed to. You know you have to pay that mortgage every month. Why? It's a contract on it. You need to have a contract on your life. This is not a contract between me and myself, that I will no longer keep on putting off the things that I know I'm called to for my purpose and destiny no longer. I'm signing a contract between me and God that this year I'm going to see something happen. Because it's something, it feels good once you start checking things off that for so long you felt like were dormant in you that you were going to never see life in again. And God allows you to go back to those things that you wrote out 2 or 3 years ago and you've already had success in it. It's something about seeing it. It is something about seeing it on paper that changes our perspective to go out and do it. Because now it's like you're holding yourself accountable. In your mind, it's like, okay. I hear people say it all the time, you know what, I thought about that 10 years ago. And then you'll see somebody doing the idea that God gave you. Then you want to get mad because you never pursued it. All you had to do was write it out. And he never gives you provision until you have the vision and you step out in it. That's when you get provision.
And we also got to remember, I love it. And we also got to remember for our listeners that are listening that nobody's going to work harder for your brand than you.
That's right. That's right.
That is so key.
You don't want to be a brand. This is what I'm saying. I didn't want to be a brand. I wanted to be the brand. I don't care if I'm not on the level of so and so. My branding is everything. I would rather work harder to be in the position of my brand being where it's going to be than not to be there already. Because in this day and time, your brand is everything. It's your voice. It's who you are before they even meet you. People will turn you down when they go and they see your brand. We got to stop. You cannot manipulate your brand. Your brand is everything. How many times have I used to interview people, and I would go on their social media. I said, oh, absolutely not, because what you're telling me does not reflect what I see on social media.
You better go ahead, Crystal.
It's important. Your flyers don't represent kingdom. They look like you are just okie dokie. I'm not. No, I'm a standard. If you don't take time to bring yourself, why would people want to sow into you? Why do you think you're going to get sponsors and you didn't even take enough time to invest in your own brand? And you expect, I told you, we are our first client. What's the first client?
I know. I love it. You know what? You are speaking for every listener that is listening tonight. The knowledge and the wisdom that you are sharing, because it is so true. And which is why I want to ask you this next question about that woman that might be listening that is in her pruning season and about to give up. What advice would you give her? Because I think, when people are in that pruning season, sometimes that season can be hard. Okay?
Yes,
and sometimes, people want to give up, but you shouldn't give up, because if you give up, you ain't going to make it to that next level, right? And so can you talk about how important that pruning season is?
You know what? The pruning season, where you're pruning for the process. That's the last stage. You can always, this is something to encourage somebody. The roughest season is the season right before you go on the platform. That's right before the product gets that call. That because what it does in the pruning process, that lets you know if you can handle success. So that's the part. That's the part. We hear so many different people's stories. from celebrities that we have seen over the years that have been interviewed. It's that day that they're about to give up. The very next day is the day that they see success. I'm telling you, it's been proven over and over again. This should be your encouragement. If you are in your dry season, if you're in your season to your exit and you feel like you can't take no more, that lets you know that, you know what, this should encourage you. You know what, God, I'm about to step in it. You got to tell yourself that, because we all have been there. I'm like, God, what can I do? I've looked back in my journal. I said, God, but I kept on pushing with tears in my eyes, because I know what God spoke over my life. You have to encourage yourself when nobody is around. You got to encourage and mentally say it even when you don't believe in yourself. You got to talk yourself out of defeat, because you cannot handle when you go into a boardroom and you said that you want XYZ for your business. You can't let those people see that you don't believe in yourself. You got to have a confidence in you when you lack it. That's how you do that. You are about to, that's anybody that's ever had a baby, or you've ever been around a woman that was about to give birth. It is the worst part of the birthing process. There are pains that she never felt before. It intensifies, and I hear this for the listener. If you have been in a place where it has been intensified, where you keep on getting no's, get ready for that one yes. Because the one thing I know about it is that if God called you to it, he will allow you to see it come into fruition, and you got to birth it out. When that baby is born, I don't care if you have been in the room with that person. It doesn't even matter what they felt before the baby was born. All that matters is that it got here. That's how you got to look at what God is birthing, wanting you to birth out. I don't care what I got to do. I'm going to see it happen, because God put it in me, and he wouldn't have allowed it to burn so intense with such an intensity if he didn't want me to see success in it. But God can't trust you. If he can't trust you to birth it out, how do you think he's going to trust you to be able to touch people's lives and on a grander scale, and you can't even birth out what he's placed inside of you? You have to be able to make decisions that you might only have 2 minutes. Hey, I got a call. Hey, I need you in Japan. You don't have time to think about it. You got to be able to trust yourself. And if you can't trust yourself in seeing what is called purpose and destiny inside you, then you're not ready for it to be birthed out. You might as well have a stillborn or a miscarriage. And many of us have already seen what the effects are in having a miscarriage. A miscarriage is a reminder of what could have happened. That's what some of us are on the verge of. If you give up now, you'll have another miscarriage. And whose life is going to be affected because you didn't live out or birth out what God called you to in your purpose? If you have a purpose on your life, that means somebody is in need of it. We were in need of, I was in need of you. So you had to do what you were called to do for me, even to be on your show. See, it's never about us. Even though God might use us as a vessel to get it out there, it's never about you. And if you don't realize that what God has put in you is not about you, you are too selfish for it to be birthed out, and you might as well have a miscarriage. Because this thing is bigger than you. Whatever God put in you, you are just the instrument that he can trust for it to be exposed. You're the example. You're the example. That's how I look at it. Because you have to be real with people now. Because too many times people have been hearing, especially for people that are in ministry, they try to make it so easy and just walk with Christ. And it's so, no, it's hard. No, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard at times. I don't care how long you've been a believer. Nobody wants to hear a no. You get sick of hearing a no. And I look at the movies that I love is the movie with Will Smith, The Pursuit of Happiness. That the part when he gave his last $5, that's a very significant movie to me, and it makes me cry every time I see it because he gave his last. I say that to that person. Can you give your last for what God has in you so that it can be birthed out? If you're not willing to give everything for what it is that you're trying to pursue, then it's not time for it to happen. When it's time, you give up. You'll give up. That moment changed his life. He gave something that he didn't even have for himself. but not knowing that everything was in that man's hands. And he was, at the end of the day, they don't even show it in the movie, but he was the one that determined the final yes. So that's how we have to look at it when we're having contractions for what we need to birth out. Why is God allowing the contractions to be so intensified? It's because he's trying to show you that you're ready now. You can give birth to it. It might didn't work 12 years ago. Maybe you wasn't mature enough. Maybe you hadn't healed. Maybe you wasn't ready for failure. Maybe you wasn't ready for success. But you cannot rely on what happened 12 years ago. You can't even go into this thing thinking that it's going to fail. You got to know that this is my time, this is my season, and it will happen because I'm in the right place at the right time for my purpose and destiny to line up with the word of God that has been placed over my life. Even non-believers believe in the kingdom principles. They use it as strategy, and they're making millions every year. And we as believers don't even believe in the principle of God.
How?
I've heard non-Christians take the same principles that God has given us freely. They're not even hidden from us, and they're successful on it. But we as believers, God is looking for examples that he can trust to show that it really does work when you do it the right way. But our mindset is not even in the place to believe that. We got to believe in us. We got to believe in who we are called to be for God to do what he promised he will do in us. It starts with you. Every part of it, even though that person might be listening right now on the verge of saying, you know what, I'm going to go back. I'm going to give up on it. Can you at least sit down after this call and say, well, you know what, let me go back and look at my strategy. God, can I ask God for wisdom? Before you throw in the towel, ask God to give you that creative idea. Because sometimes we put God in only certain parts of what we're called to do. We don't put him in the whole thing, and that's why we don't see it manifest either. You can't limit him only to certain parts of it. He's got to be, even when we don't want to hear what he say, we got to do what he's telling us to do in the process to see it manifest. And be okay with it.
The process is the most important part of the journey. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. It's it's a painful part, but it's necessary, right? And we have to embrace being uncomfortable.
But the process is what builds the story for you and your audience. You don't have a story if you don't have no process.
That's
Why
right.
would anybody want to listen to you?
That's right.
I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a new adventure for a particular car. Well, what was the process to get there? See, we don't understand that when we're going through it. Your process is what's going to give you leverage on the platform that will open up doors for you. People need to understand that you can handle the pressure.
Come on.
Why would they need you? Why would they want you? And you don't even have a story. Nobody wants a boring story. That's the most intriguing part, is because you did go through the process to get to the platform. Because they need to be able to relate to your story. So encourage yourself from that. I got a story on the inside of me that somebody is in need of to get my voice out there for the product, for whatever it is that you do. If you're a speaker, if you're a teacher, if you want to invent something, if you're a stylist, if you're an owner, if it's a boutique. That means that if you're called to have a boutique, you need to look like your boutique. You need to have custom-made, tailor-made things that nobody else got. You need to be an example of whatever you're selling. My book shouldn't sell. My voice should sell it because they can trust what I wrote in it. See, it's all about you. If I have a boutique, I should look like the boutique without me even giving you a card. Because if I don't look like I have style and sophistication and have an actual eye for whatever I'm trying to sell, why would anybody ever come in there? And I got jogging pants on, and I'm saying that I'm a boutique. You got to look like what you're selling, and you got to have the confidence behind it.
Yes,
that's a part of the process.
Yes. The process. I love it. So congratulations on your new book, Crystal. from the eyes of a prophet, drive your way into destiny. So tell us about it and how we can go purchase and support it.
Oh, thank you, Ashley. Let me tell you something. This is my baby. The reason why, because it was truly my life, and what we talked about on here. These are the things that I wrote out, and by writing out the tools God gave me, I have seen success in those areas. You have to seek, write, and believe. It starts with that. Matthew 13. You know, I'm sorry. When you think about Matthew, when you seek Him first, the kingdom of God. When you write it out, Habakkuk 2:2. When you believe it, Mark 11:24. All of these things are instruments that you should live by in the kingdom of God. When you write things out in the Bible, biblically, scribes, whenever they wrote something, it was a done deal. So you got to look at your life as a thing. Once I write it out, if I do what God is telling me to do in the process, it has to manifest because God's word can't lie. It cannot lie. And there is success. I've had so many people that have already reached out to me that their eyes have been opened by this book. And I'm not just saying it because I wrote it. I'm saying it because I was the first client for the book. This is what happened. This is what gave me what God has given me, my exit to the platform, because I wrote it when I was still working. Because I couldn't sell this book to you if I didn't live it. Whenever you're talking about kingdom, whenever you're talking about something, I had to go through the process of what I wrote to you. I wouldn't have a testimony if I didn't have to endure what I wrote about. So for those of you, I challenge anyone that if you really want to know the hidden treasures of God, these were things that God gave me directly. No one taught me this. God gave me tools to see success from having my first home, from being an owner of my home. I did everything. I wrote it out, and I believed, and I seek God on counsel of everything that I did in this book. You can go to my website. It's www.crystaltolbert.com. You can click on the link, and you can get the book. And it's $19.99, but I'm telling you, I've had several people that I have not even met have told me this book has changed their lives. It's a quick read, but I promise if you use the tools that God has given you in this book, because I talk about prophetic affirmations. There are things that you need to write out. If you're called to it, write it out. You need to write, and you need to send a reminder of yourself. There are prophetic prayers on wealth and wisdom and how to obtain it, how you can become the millionaire. And everybody's not called to be a millionaire, but that don't mean you can't have wealth. Those are the tools on just prophetic partnership with God. You know, every one of us have the ability to be successful in what we're called to, but it takes time and it takes having discipline to go through it. So I talk about making legacy moves. We want to make legacy. We want to leave something. If you don't have kids, you still should have a legacy, and you can live in legacy. Those are the kind of things that I talk about in the book.
So please, listeners, go support this amazing book. Crystal, like I said, I consistently follow her. She's doing amazing things, and she practices what she preaches. So please go support her and buy this amazing book. It will change your life. It would change. I mean, this interview thus far, I know for every listener that is listening, it has changed your life. So, Crystal,
thank you.
I ask all of my guests this question because I know you have already built your table and you're still building it. But how did you create your seat at the table?
The way that I created my seat at the table is that God told me something. He said, "You don't have to go to their table to eat. Create your own." So I built from that. I had to learn that because at first it would hurt my feelings when they didn't want me to come. But God said, I gave it to you. Create your own seat. So I don't have to be at your table. Because once you create your own seat and you create your own table, then people will want to come to your table. They'll invite you to their table. That's how you do it. That's how. Put yourself and create your own seat. And then you'll see that your table is greater anyway because it's your table that they want to eat at. Have something good and have it prepared, and people will invite you to their table. That's how it works. That's how success happens. You got to create your own lane, create your own seat at the table. That's what I did. And that's how I created my table.
Yes, and don't wait for nobody else, like you said, to put you at their table. Create your own seat at the table. Build your own table. Anything
Build your own table. Yes.
You close the gap. You be the solution. You be the change maker.
Yes.
I love it.
Because it just takes one person that want to come to your table, and then every other opportunity opens up. One person at your table could change your life. That's why you don't need to want to be at nobody else's table. Create your own. Create your own.
Because your destiny is tied to your connection.
Yes.
Remember that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny will never manifest if you don't have the right connection. One connection can change your life, your lifestyle. One connection can open up a door of impossibilities to millions of possibilities for you. That's why you have to be connected to people that believe in who you are. Stop trying to connect with everybody. That's the same thing. I don't need to be in the boardroom at your table and you don't believe in me. Make sure you're asking God to tell you what seat to sit in, because I don't want to waste time. We've wasted too much time sitting at the wrong table.
Yeah. So what did failure teach you on your journey, Crystal?
You know what failure taught me? Failure taught me how to get back up and dry my tears and be more passionate about seeing success. It gave me more hunger. It made me want to study my craft more. The failure made me want to push harder into learning my craft. I have to be my own client, but what works? What is going to take for the yes? That's what happened in the failure. When I started believing in myself, the reason why a lot of things I didn't see I didn't have the confidence in me. I could have had a lot of success earlier in life, but I didn't think I was worthy of it. My failure stopped when I began to believe in me, and I knew I was worthy of it. That's what happened for me. That's what happened. Once you believe in yourself, you don't get disgusted in failure. You find another solution, and you try until it's successful, because all it takes is one call, one voice, one connection, and success happens. That's all it takes. One person could be tied to your whole destiny. When I believed in me and I knew that I was worthy, because we attract certain things. Our energy attracts. What you believe, that's what you'll get. If you think you're called to be on a platform, if you're called to success, if you're called to inspire people, how could I ever be called to inspire people when I couldn't even inspire myself? That's the failure. I didn't know who I was. And God wasn't going to allow me to be able to be on the platform He called me to if I didn't believe it myself. That's how you do it.
I love it.
Take your failures and use them as testimonies and stories for your success, and build your platform.
So failure taught you to believe in yourself. What did success teach you?
Success taught me that everybody is not meant for success. Success is ugly. Success can leave you broken. Success can leave you lonely. Real success teaches you who is really, really loves you. See, that's the one thing about success. There are many people that have success, but they have committed suicide. Look at Kate Spade. She had great success, but her secret life was in pain. I've told God this is this, and I live by this. I don't want to have public success and be a private failure. That's important to me. See, you got to know what your success is. Is success your home? Is it materialistic things? Or is success seeing other people being successful in what they do? My success is seeing lives change, impact for the kingdom, and people that were broken can be healed through my words. That's my success. Not how many likes I get, not how many friends I have, but seeing people be inspired and seeing them lead with substance. Everybody calls success different. What is your success? That's what I learned. I didn't know that, because what looks like success to many people is absolutely harder for some.
What is your success?
Really is.
Knowing what is your success. I love it for all of our listeners.
Yes.
And that's something I want all of our listeners to really think about. What is your success? What does it mean to you? Because like you said, success means something different for everybody.
Success could be having a home with a husband, with children. Success could be going back to school at 55, getting your master's, then working on your doctorate. Your success should not be based on other opinions of success or what we see on TV or what we see in social media. Your success should be what God placed in you that needs to be successful. There is nothing like feeling the fulfillment of knowing. Like for me, to write my first book, because I put it off for so long, and people were like, when are you going to get your book out? I wrote in 3 other people's books before I ever got mine because I was like, nobody's going to help me. And that was the hardest part for me. I didn't want to fail because I didn't believe in me. And I thought because I thought I needed other people to help me when all I had to do was seek God. See, that's the problem. We cannot limit him and base him only in certain parts. When I really looked and I seek God and I did that, then God gave me the answers that I didn't need to reach out to those people because those people would have gotten credit. And God said he wants to get the credit for your success. You can be a nobody. To one person, you are somebody. But that somebody needs to be God. And when you recognize that, your success could be just you walking in Christ and not giving up and not going back into a place of depression or isolation. Don't make anybody minimize your success. That's the problem. That's what I'm saying about that spirit of not believing in you. I don't have to have accolades from the masses. As long as God is pleased and I'm fulfilling my purpose, that is success. That's a story. That's going to inspire somebody else that I had the courage to see it manifest. That's success. And being confident in that. It don't matter what you say at the end of the day.
I love it. So, Crystal, what can we expect from you the rest of 2019? I mean, we're in Q3 now. What can we expect from you? Doing some amazing things. You got your new book. I mean, like I said, you're consistently doing some amazing things. So what else can we prepare for Crystal for the rest of 2019?
Well, I will say this. Be prepared for what I'm about to do. I'm actually about to start doing some classes on really teaching people the consistency of seeing your words become alive on paper. I'm really working on that right now. I have some people that I'm working with that are backing me up, and be prepared to go on a journey of me from seeing your dreams, just dreams, to becoming reality with me. I'm not only going to show you how to scribe it, I'm going to show you how to live it. So that's what I have. Some engagements coming up, that's things. But the main thing is that this year has taught me that my words were so powerful that I'm seeing them manifest in other people's lives, and they're believing. That is something that has opened up doors for me, my brand. And then also, don't be surprised when you see we have in the making. There's a show that's in the making, but I'm gonna just leave that alone, because some things I want to keep you guessing, because I don't want to tell you everything. I want you to keep knowing me as a mystery. If I give you everything, there's nothing to me. Why would you want to look out for me? So I'm just gonna leave that right there, and just be prepared to see some greater things that are happening going in from 2019 to 2020. I've had some opportunities that have been presented to me, and I'm excited about it, because at the end of the day, it's not about me, it's about God. And if I'm going to be a glamour girl, I'm going to be a glamour girl for the kingdom. So we got some beautiful women out here that are ready to make history, and I'm ready to make history to help other women make history. So be on the lookout for that.
Yes, so please support Crystal and all that she's doing. Crystal, you're about to do some amazing things, and you're already doing some amazing things. And the workshops that she's getting ready to do, definitely get involved. She is somebody to know, and I can't wait to see what God is going to continue to do in your life, because I know it's going to be powerful. I know it's going to be powerful.
Ashley, thank you. Thank you so much. So you have been a joy, and I've enjoyed you. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have. I've enjoyed you too, and I'm going to say this was an amazing, powerful interview. Amazing interview, and I really enjoyed you. And I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come to the table, and I can't wait to invite you back.
Thank you. This harvest at your table. It's fruitful and it's fun. You know, I like going to a table that I'm welcome at, and thank you for making me welcome at your table. It was a pleasure and an honor to be interviewed by you, and I appreciate you and your staff. Thank you again.
You are welcome, Crystal, because I really believe, and I believe in this, and I stand by this, that we all can win. We all can win, right? We all can win.
Yes, absolutely. That's how we win. I don't win by myself. We win together. That's the success of it, when we win together. We have great minds, and we shouldn't be afraid to connect with the right people. Doors and lives can be changed, and we win together. At the end of the day, there's not a win if you're failing and I'm winning, and I don't teach you and I don't help you come up so that you can win with me. It's no fun just winning by yourself. So fun like that.
Because a true successful leader is one who reaches back and pulls forward.
Absolutely. And leaders produce other leaders. And nobody wants to sit at the table by themselves. Nobody. I want to be able to have other people sit at the table with me, and we celebrate and we toast together on our win and our successes. That's how we empower others. Absolutely.
Yes. So would you please tell our listeners how they can follow you on all social media platforms and connect with you?
Okay. Well, if you're on social media for us, like with Instagram, I'm Lady C. Tolbert. If you are on Facebook, I am just Crystal N. Tolbert. And on Twitter, I am at Lady C. Tolbert as well. Or you can do info at Lady C. Tolbert, WIG. And, of course, I have my website, which is www.crystaltolbert.com. I'm going to start in the month of September. I'm going to start sending out my newsletters. So please, if you will sign up, and I can send you information also when I'm in certain areas and I'm there to speak or to inspire, definitely go on there and sign up for my newsletter, as well as where I'm going to be next in the following places and locations in the fall and in the winter. So, again, thank you, Ashley. It was wonderful. You inspired me with just your personality, and you can hear the heart of you and why you want people to sit at your table. So you draw people in to sit at your table, but you also inspire other people to want to connect with you. And so thank you for being an example of showing that women can inspire and can collaborate for the right reason. So, again, it was wonderful. It was a pleasure to connect with you. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. And I'm honored and humbled. And I receive everything that you have said. And as I stated, you are anointed and you are walking in definitely favor, right? So I knew because I asked God to lead me to the right people when I bring them to the table.
Thank you.
And so
I'm
just so thankful for the divine connection.
Thank you so much. Likewise. Have a wonderful evening.
You too. I would like to give a special thanks. To Tammy Collins Marquis and John Schamberger. I would also like to give a special thanks to author Kimberly McLemore. And I would like to give a special thanks to my intern, Savon, from Virginia Commonwealth University, and my intern, Sarah, from Tennessee State University. You all may follow me on Facebook at Ashley Little and on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Creating Your Seat at the Table, where Ashley speaks with corporate professionals, celebrities, entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers who are transitioning or have transitioned to entrepreneurship.
I am so delighted to share with you this book, Fierce. Fierce was a vision that God gave to me during the greatest battle of my life, and it was birthed through fire from my very existence. This book was written to encourage you, strengthen you, and to inspire you that you can be strong and you can hold on by the grace of God. It is available through ebook on Amazon. And speaking of books, I want to introduce you to Visionary Coaching and Consulting Group, LLC. We offer child care coaching, ministerial coaching, author coaching, pastoral coaching, motivational speaking, inspirational speaking, conferences, and so much more. Our vision at PCCG is seeing your words come to